Right, where we're up to now is, as you can see, we're doing quite well now. So, just to go over a few things that I just want to point out why we've done this. One is the chassis. I think you've seen all the damage we had to the chassis in previous, earlier on. So that's why we changed the chassis. We could have just changed the rear end, but because we want this to be a real nice truck to drive around and look at, we've decided to go for a chassis. That's why we put that on. So what you need to look at is the back end of the chassis. Most Defenders will go from the back cross member up to here, yeah. And you can buy the pieces. So if you're maybe looking to buy a Land Rover Defender, have a good hunt around here, and you'll see. You may see that it's already had a replacement part put on, and you'll see the welds and that where it's been done. So you'll see all that in there. But that's one place to look at, certainly towards the back of the chassis.
And I think one thing, from our point of view, you only found it by accident.
Yeah, well, found it, yeah. In fact, it was my son that found it, and he said, "Oh, Dad, it's had weld in there." And I poked around a little bit more, and it actually wasn't welded.
You've seen as an earlier video, they'd masticed it on,
they just masticed it on,
painted over the top. Yeah,
crazy.
What other bits have we replaced?
Right, so the bulkhead, we knew we had to repair the bulkhead from the MOT because
on the driver's side, I think,
on the driver's side, it had gone down in this corner and it needed a patch put in this corner, which is, that's part of it. So along the bottom of the bulkhead is where you need to look. So in the corners, under here is where it tends to go a lot on both sides. Now, obviously, don't forget this is left-hand drive, so this will be driver's side. This particular one had gone across here. If you remember from the old bulkhead when we showed you it had gone across there. But if you look in front, is where the heater matrix and that sits. So there's potentially a water trap there, hence why it's rotted. So there's another couple of things you need to look for. But obviously you won't see it from the inside because it's covered by the dash. Other areas on bulkheads are in and around this mount here. On these corners, they tend to go here. So again, you can buy replacement parts to put on there, but which is okay as long as the old metal, the rusty metal, has been cut out before you put a new bit in.
I think it was said in an earlier video we could have repaired this, but that's not the point of it, is it?
No, no. So that's sort of like some of the main things that if you're going to look for something to maybe do up like we've done here, or you want just fancy buying an old Defender, they're the sort of things you need to look for. On top of that, obviously stripping down, we found a few other bits. So
what's wet? It's wet.
That's wet. B post and C post. Now obviously, being where they are situated here, spray from obviously the wheels and off the road and stuff comes up here, collects in here. There are holes, drain holes in all of these, but it still collects. So
it's mainly mud. Mud collects, doesn't it, and traps it.
So what you'll find is that they rot at the bottom. Now, this side we've just put in, and we've just bought this one.
So we got that one. I want to say a big thank you to Keith Gotts anyway.
Amazing, yeah.
Keith Gotts, the actual recommended price was £1,000, wasn't it? And they gave us it for 400. Now we bought another one for the other side from YRM, and that one we had to put together. That one cost 510. Like I said, that one was going to cost 1,000, but they gave us it for £400 plus the VAT, which is pretty exceptional. So a big thanks to Keith Gott for that.
Yeah, major. So that's why we replaced both sides, just because that side was completely gone. That side, C post had been repaired at some point at the bottom there, and when we took it off, the B post just fell over basically. This one didn't look so bad initially when we took it off, so we just kind of put it to one side and then left it. But when we came to put it back on, we looked at it and went, do you know what? Yeah, and actually it fell over. Anyway, so
what about this back panel that we did?
Yeah, so that's obviously B and C post that you need to look for. Bit difficult to look for it, but you can see signs of it if you can get underneath it, or even when you open the door down in there, bearing in mind that's where your seatbelt bolts into. Okay, same here. The other bit as well, obviously, is the front panel to the rear tub. We've replaced that. It's just this is one of those ones where you've got aluminium, steel bolts. There's a chemical reaction between them, and the aluminium just starts to eat away. But again, normally they'll have a carpet across the front of this, so you won't see it. So just pull the carpet back slightly to see what it's like down there. You know, just have a good look.
I think we got that part from YRM as well, and it was pretty rapid to get it here.
Yeah.
Can't remember the cost. Can you remember the cost of that, Duncan, that front panel? £38. So it's a quick fix in reality. Our kind of fabricator put on an extra panel on the top to give it strength on the top there.
And then the other one is where that panel sits. So this cross member, which bolts onto the chassis, and then that tub then bolts on to the brackets that are on it.
Yeah, we've got it all loose just now for adjustment, haven't we?
Just so we can get it all adjusted up. That I've seen some really bad ones of those.
That was starting to go, wasn't it?
Yeah, just because of where it is sat on the vehicle, a lot of obviously mud and water and stuff like that, and that's where it goes. And that's the biggest problem with anything, not just Land Rovers, but anything. If you're doing a lot of overlanding or a lot of off-roading and stuff like that, it's really important that when you finished it for the day, or if you go out and do day stuff or the weekends or whatever, that you get it washed properly. You get it cleaned down as much as you can.
You need to get underneath, don't you?
Underneath, get because there's so many nooks and crannies in here, up in here, up in here, up in here.
Yeah, because that is hollow. We must say that's hollow, so it just traps stuff, doesn't it?
And up in here, the mud, moss, grass, whatever you've been, will collect in there, and because it's wet, it stays wet.
And the mud holds it there, doesn't it?
The mud holds it in there. You might not see it, and then you're lucky if it dries out. You drive down the road, it all drops out. If not, it'll stay there. You'll go overlanding again, go through some puddles and stuff. It'll get wet again, and it'll just stay, and eventually it'll just rot everything away.
Yeah.
And that's the problem you have. So, just a tip, you know, if you can get underneath it with a jet wash of some sort, and get as much, even if you can get a little screwdriver in there or something, and just poke it all out, get as much out as you can, and then just get a hose pipe up there and just get the rest of it out.
Yeah, and other parts that we've done, we've had our Sparky on the loom. He's sorted out all the connections, make sure they're okay. What else have we done? Just like cleaning up parts and reusing parts and stuff like that. So we just kind of cleaned them off, primed them and painted them. Yeah. So we've used parts where we can, and replace where we can't.
That's the main thing. If you can do it, you know, give the old part a good rub, a good scrub down. Get every bit. If there is any deposits, rust or whatever on it, get rid of it all. Give it a good paint. Protect it again. It'll still work. It's still fine. You know, you don't have to replace everything, because if it still works, then why replace it all?
We're going to put this up as a separate video because of the amount of information that's here. Because I think this is what people need to know when they're buying a Land Rover, the things to look for. Was there anything on the front end we did? Can't remember. Apart from replace parts and clean parts up and stuff like that. There was no major issues in the engine wise, was there?
Mainly, you know, just have a good look around. It's difficult because when the wings are on, when the wings are on, obviously you can imagine the wing sitting here. You've got your inner wing, but then you've got your eyebrow, which normally has a plastic shield on the inside that covers that gap. So you can't actually see up through the gap unless you want to pull the gap away, but obviously they're pinned in. So you can't actually see up in there. So, you know, if you can get around it, if you can get down underneath it, see if there's any damage underneath here, it will tell you if it's had a little bit of a shunt or anything like that. It's just trying to get into those nooks and crannies where you might see some damage, find out what it is. We didn't have much on the front of this one.
Not really, no.
Not really.
No.
It's just,
I mean, we're going to replace them with silicone hoses and stuff like that. Like, it's just for longevity, and some people like them, some people don't. Also, the springs. I had a comment the other night about using terra firma shocks. Like, we've used terra firma shocks for the last 5 years, and they've done us no harm at all. So why change what already works? In fact, these are more heavy duty. These ones, springs. What we've used is wolf on this one. You know, like they're pretty heavy duty. And you'll see that, and the whole front end. Well, we've upgraded the whole front end, haven't we? As in steering dampers, panhard rods, all that kind of stuff. Steering rods, everything. So that's kind of, we've done all that. If you can see there, we've painted all the parts up as well. We've reused, because I think that part's about £400 or £500. This one here. So if you're going to do a vehicle up, don't throw that part away, because they're expensive and they're a chunky bit of metal, like, so they're not going to rot. And I think that's at the front. Oh, one thing as well was the mesh behind the flaps there.
Yeah, again,
you welded them. You've seen that in a previous video.
Yeah, we've seen that. Yeah, as mentioned, we've asked Keith Gotts and they can't get hold of them. Like I said before, if someone out there knows where we can get them, then great. Please post it up and let us know, just for future projects. But we've had to reuse the ones from the old ones, which is not a drama. You just got to take them off and then tack them back in. So that's what we've done with them, and just painted them up.
And again, other parts, I mean, we'll show you this when we finish the vehicle. These bits that hold the windscreen on here, we got them from Off-Road Monkeys in Bavaria. Bits like that. We're gradually going through all that. We get stuff from other companies, which we will show you in the finished vehicle. And we'll go through all the parts list. We'll link them all down below. And you can get links to YRM, Keith Gotts, who is our local Land Rover dealer in Alton. And they're pretty damn good. I think that's it then, huh?
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like what we do, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. And we'll give you as much information as we can. And if you get any questions, just ask them. Our mechanics of years in the business. I mean, we've got hundreds of years of experience within our team, haven't we?
Yeah.
Of mechanics.
I mean, there's things that I don't know about Land Rover still that other people do, and I accept that. That's fine, you know. But it's the only way. It's the only way we learn if we post the right things, ask the right questions, and give that information to other people. Share the information.
Absolutely, and I think it's important to learn that this is how we're doing it. It doesn't mean this is the way you have to do it. Everything we post up is just the way we've found how to do it through experience in the military and running your own workshop. And the amount of experience we've got with the REME mechanics, RAF mechanics, Navy kind of mechanics, we've got really fantastic experience there, haven't we? You know that, if we don't know how to do it, they'll work it out.
Yeah, and that's the thing, whether somebody's had that experience of doing something similar before in their past, and they said, "Oh, I did it that way," then we'll have a go at doing it that way. It's just what it is. Sometimes you have a scratch head moment, and you just stand there and go, "How am I going to do that?" And someone will say something, and it'll go, "Oh, right, okay, let's do it that way then," and we'll just crack on. And
that's the important thing. Everybody's got input here, haven't they?
Absolutely, yeah.
Usually my input just gets thrown out right enough, but like,
well, that's just a bricky,
anyway, thanks for that. Anyway, as I said, if you want to know anything or ask us any questions, please feel free to do so. We're here to learn as well. We don't know everything, so I know there's some experts out there on Land Rovers. We are always in for new information, to try things new ways. And the same with the overland community. We're okay at doing what we do, but there's always somebody that's done something that we haven't done, and that's important. Anyway, thanks for watching.
Giving the Imperial bolts.
What was that one, Duncan?
Whichever people giving the Imperial bolts.
I see, and Duncan does the whinging, so he's the whinger.